We had our penalty in the box.
6'7".
6'7", 6'7".
6'7".
Yeah.
Sorry.
Please don't stop.
You spent too much time in middle school.
Kathleen.
Bo, I was waving at you the other day and then I realized it was so not you going by and you're
In like 2 minutes, I'm having a little trouble with
not Bo.
the software and I'll give you a thumbs up. Yeah, it shouldn't.
And the paperwork when you're ready and all that.
Oh, we got Alexander Brezhny here to give us the gold.
Hello, Kathleen.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am here. I am vertical.
You're on the right side of the green grass?
I
She was just streaming, so
survived my move out of my office to my new office,
Oh,
which I thought was going to kill me, but it may, yeah, because I still have a lot to put away once I get in there, but
right. It's all right.
I'm sure I freed up a spot in the downtown corridor and it immediately got rented again. So I'm glad about that.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I got a heck of a sliver today, laying out the rest of my wood chips, and I can't get it out. And it's one that actually hurt.
They got, they got a thing for that. What's it called? Oh yeah, gloves.
Oh, no, I know. I know. I had them on. I had them on. And it's about as big as the lead or point of your pen. And Ted's in there with his needle. And it just keeps going.
Here's our girl.
Leave it alone for a couple of weeks. Forget, like all pussy and fall out on its own.
Well, according to Alexa, if I can't get it out, I'm supposed to head to urgent care for infection. But I got a needle, a pine needle, when I was a kid. And I showed my mom, I was like, what's this? She came me with a needle? I had never been so, that was the first time ever. So you think I'm not worried?
I'll give you one that'll make you go, ooh.
Well, my
Yeah.
truck left me high and
World War
right.
II.
Okay.
Took
So
shrapnel
it's electrical stuff on there. I don't
Yeah.
think
You could feel it?
the is
and
strong enough
oh,
because I drive it a couple of,
60 years later,
drive it, turn it off.
It came out?
turn
they
it
got
off.
it out because it was traveling through his body and they had to get it before it went too much further in a certain direction.
Was it in?
Well, it's running, it's.
Like
I don't know if it was in his shoulder or what. No, it's just, it was just a sharp piece of metal working its way through,
When it's all.
To get out.
a jelly substance as far as getting from here to there.
Oh,
Why didn't run into any bolts and just going through the soft tissue?
That's what we're,
Sooner or later, that's gonna be a problem.
yeah.
Otherwise, the kill switch.
I got a kill switch on it. I'm still does.
So yeah, work pickup. Brake light came on.
How's it? You guys got baseball going on?
Yeah, very great. Released it. Still on.
What are you doing?
Negating my current. Buddy of mine at Josh is in Quincy right now. His team's up 3-1. He's sitting because he's giving the other kids a chance to play. And turned off. I said, he goes to this is a Ford. He's in a walkout because you brushed
Oh, wow.
against it. You're playing basketball.
You pushed it down in half. All right. She called and canceled. She had something come up. She's from the same organization though, so it's fine. And she will be joining us via Teams. And he is from the health district. And he's just really wanting to be available to answer any questions that come up, but I think he might want a little bit of time. So
John Doe.
slow it down.
And
I don't know. That felt like he shows up to every meeting, but then
took 3 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
And she's calling in.
3 minutes. Yep. Yeah, she'll be on the Teams meeting. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna pull this down. OBS updated and it's not streaming, but I've posted to Facebook. What's this?
Foot shoes.
And I'll upload the recording.
It's 15 shoes. It's amazing you can get off the ground. Let me know when. You want to start now then?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, try to bring this meeting to order. First of all, we will do our roll call. Matt Moore,
Here.
Bill Bork, here. Kathleen Harris.
Here.
Bo Lamons,
Here.
James Mathis,
Here.
Kelly Millard,
Here.
Mike Warren.
Here.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you like to come up, Summer?
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. Good. Didn't want to knock the field goal. pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being recorded. We have no additions or corrections. We have no presentation. We do have public comment. First person up for public comment is Dr. Heidi Sikora.
Mr. Mayor, if you would. I don't believe she's joined the call.
Oh, okay. So we will join in later.
Yeah, and I think they're both specific to one item on the agenda, so if you want to wait until that item.
Okay. Up next, we have the consent agenda. Need a motion to approve the consent.
I'll move.
Second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Ethics and Staff Committee. Public hearings, and we will skip down to ordinances. So ordinance A, we have a first reading, ordinance 26-003, banning kratom product sales in city limits.
Correct. We've had, if you recall, last meeting discussion. There were a couple of you who expressed some concern of the use of kratom and how it's unregulated. So we prepared for you a draft ordinance for the first reading. On that feedback, a couple of things, number one, as you saw, that Grant County Health District has encouraged communities to ban kratom and 7-OH products. We have Dr. Bresney and Reese again here to speak to that. But we did learn today, and you have an article in front of you that the federal government has stepped up and regulated what is essentially, I believe, a synthetic version of kratom 7-OH, like products. So have that information in front of you. This is, as I believe, completely restricts sales within the city limits completely and totally. So, yeah, that's what I've got for you.
So under that new, the DEA regulation, does that now fall under their jurisdiction as far as regulating the synthetics? What does that entail? This
Comes to Schedule 1, which
Yeah,
talk about
it's
schedule.
not medical use, so
Right.
it's similar to, even.
Sure. So it's essentially banned at that level now, even before we do anything, at least at the current temporary injunction that they have or whatever.
That's my understanding.
Just the synthetic version or?
Synthetic version.
Okay.
That's the way I read it.
Have any more discussion on this?
Well-
Okay, bring in our speakers.
Well, we're not asking to ban just the synthetic. We're asking to ban the whole thing, right?
Correct. What's in front of you would ban 7-OH.
Okay, that's what I thought.
This time we'll be bringing Dr. Sikora.
See if she's joined us yet? I don't see that she's joined the. Given the release, you may have canceled. I can call and follow up with her after the meeting, but she received an invite. I spoke with her earlier today. I don't know why she wouldn't be on at this point.
Should we wait a few minutes or should we forego that?
You can if
Speakers.
you have a question, the health district staff might give them a little more time to log in if they have any issues.
Like hear from the health district?
Do you guys want to hear from us?
We'd love to.
Here.
Up here, please. Please state your name.
My name is Reese Norville. I'm the health educator.
My name is Alex Bresney. I'm the health officer for Grand County.
Thank you,
I'm
John.
also a practicing physician in Ephrata, and I cover the emergency department where I often see cases of overdose in Ephrata. I know, Reese, if you want, and you were here last time, and I apologize. I was supposed to be here last time. But I became ill, not with kratom. Thank you. But the statements today that you, I think, have been circulated from DEA and HHS. Basically, what this is a notice of intent. This is just, the way I understand it, it's an intent that the government is taking further look into this and is looking for feedback from the public and others, experts, for the first 30 days about potentially declaring or making certain chemicals that are in kratom, specifically when they are synthesized and above certain threshold, as being illegal or class 1, which would make them basically similar to heroin. That's class 1, that's severity of restriction. So there's two intents. One intent is to set a threshold, what is safe, what is not. And there are some very specific numbers they are talking about. And then the second intent is to basically ban it. What they are talking about is they are selecting out 4 chemicals that have been identified as being particularly dangerous related to kratom. The federal government is officially recognizing what we were trying to say last time, that commercial kratom marketplace, which is called, when you buy something in a store, it doesn't say this is a natural leaf. It doesn't say it doesn't have this synthetic chemical in it. It is basically a commercial kratom marketplace which contains products posing an imminent hazard to public safety. And those are the four specific chemicals that have been fleshed out in the DEA statement. The challenge for local governments, i.e. you and me, is that consumers, retailers, inspectors, and even law enforcement cannot distinguish lawful natural leaf products, if they were to say that natural kratom is okay, from these enhanced and adulterated products in retail right now. Because when you go to the gas station, retail store, what you see these days, if you were an enforcer of this, you're going to see something like kratom, or it will say extract, or it will say gold. It will say kratom enhanced, max strength, black, ultra. What are you looking at? Are you looking at natural leaf that is just grown to be that way? Or does it have these enhanced chemicals? And it often doesn't state that on the actual packaging. So you cannot tell. The argument is that the consumers cannot distinguish. And, if federal regulators have concluded that this is a dangerous thing, it shouldn't take a chemist or a commercial laboratory to tell us what is the safety level in something you were just buying. If it takes the commercial laboratory to do so, then it shouldn't be on the shelves. Then it's a pharmaceutical that should be in the pharmacy. So I want to be clear that kratom has some promise for certain things, like marijuana did in the past and other things, but at this point, there is no way of telling the difference on the shelves. And so that is our concern, that maybe has been voiced with you before. These 13,000 poison-centric calls, of whom in 2025, through July 2025, last year, in the time of monitoring, which have resulted in of those 13,000 approximately persons who called poison-centric and had exposures to kratom during 2025, 85% of them had to go to healthcare facilities. 16.5% ended up in the ICU, 15.1% ended up in the hospital, and there were 219 reported deaths, which is why the federal government is taking, I think, restrictive action right now, or is looking to take restrictive action. Notice of intent, and please correct me if I'm wrong, takes 30 days of public hearing. Then it goes to the Attorney General's office, where it takes another 30 days before additional regulation is issued. So it may take 60 days from today. They announced it July 1st. It will take 60 days all the way through August, September to September 1st to be able to tell what they will actually end up doing. Meanwhile, these products would still be on the shelves. So we continue to recommend that kratom and related products under that name be all banned in our municipalities until federal action is complete. We believe there will be federal action. It is going to then be up to the government to tell us how to market these products safely, how to put signs on them. What is a natural leaf kratom? how much can be in there of this or that. And the laboratory that will be selling this, probably the laboratory, the retailer who will be selling this will probably have to state, kind of like with marijuana, what exactly is in it, what percentage is it. And then enforcement can happen in an appropriate way. Right now, law enforcement, you're going to show up there, you're going to see kratom, you're not going to know what's in. If you just select these 4 chemicals, it doesn't state on most boxes whether they are in or not. So you're still stuck as a regulator here as a city with that decision of sort of taking a more broader sweep at that, while including some things that are probably less harmful temporarily until it's all decided and sorted out. So that's kind of what our position hasn't changed, and we are welcoming, of course, I think it actually it makes our argument stronger. The federal government is recognizing that there is this particular challenge that needs to be sorted out. I don't want to talk too long, but I have many documents that I could back up some. If you had specific questions, be happy to entertain those. Lisa, I don't know if I've left anything that you've seen on our end.
I would just add that we've been doing retailer assessments going around, not just in Grant County, but also Chelan, Douglas, and Okanagan counties, and looking at what is at primarily convenience stores, gas stations. These products are easily available. As Dr. Brezhny said, they're not labeled very well. They, usually have some kind of appealing name. I've also seen pills. Those are a little less common. But we, as of today, we've done roughly 95 retailer assessments, and I would say probably 70 to 80% of the retailers that we've gone to, they have these products. Again, because there's just no regulation on them. So it is a worry. They're easily accessible. They are in our communities. I'll have the exact numbers on, what percentage exactly in our county has them, but from what I've seen in those amount of assessments, they're easily attainable, especially for youth.
Do you know whether the state is moving forward with a ban on it as well? Because the reason I ask that is because we as a community can do that, but there's nothing that says they can't go to George or Quincy and purchase it and bring it back into the city.
So the last legislative session, I think there was 4, it might have been 5, but at least 4 bills looking at restricting access, regulating it in some way. They didn't go through. It wasn't so much pushback, but just there's a lot of bills that try to get heard, and so they ended up failing. It's a negative connotation, not so. Like I said, not because there's a lot of pushback. I mean, there is some, as any bill has. I mean, there's no 100% prediction rate. I would say most likely this year it'll come up again. I would say there's a good chance it would pass. I think this is the 3rd year bill is about kratom. I've gone through 2nd or 3rd year. So I would say that the state legislature is probably going to look at it again. They might pass it. But a big part of those bills at the state level getting passed is the grassroots movements at local levels. And that's part of the reason why we support these movements. I think I mentioned last time Spokane Valley, Othello, Mattawa, and Royal City Warden locally those are the closest ones that have banned these products. And the more municipalities that pass bans, it puts more pressure on the legislature to pass it at a state level. And again, that makes it easier if there's a state law, makes it easier to enforce down the line.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Any more discussion?
I have a question or comment. I have received, and I suspect all the counselors have received, a variety of letters in support of doing nothing, none of which are signed or claimed or anyone that I could be with any certainty say is a citizen of Grant County, let alone afraid of. The health district, on the other hand, has charge of protecting us, which brings me to a question for our attorney. Resolution 2606 by the health district. I'm fairly sure I participated in that vote. Do I have to stay back from a vote in this?
No, that's not a conflict of interest for this.
Okay. That's it. Comment and question. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We appreciate your input on this. We need to bring this to a motion, am I correct?
To move to second reading.
Do the reading.
So yeah, your motion should move to second reading unless you want to expedite, and your motion would say expedite. Possible.
I think I noticed that there were some parts left blank. Specifically the first and second offense fees.
Correct.
I don't know if we need to decide that before we push it to another reading or.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's open to, because it's a policy decision on how much you want to punish each violation. And so you would designate a C penalty and then. So on the last page or the page after the last page of the ordinance, it has that. It's called a bail schedule because it's your C penalty. And then there's PSEAs added on by a state statute. So like the C1 penalty in your code, it says it's $631. But be aware if someone gets a ticket, that ticket would actually be for $1,293.50 because it's an additional 105% of whatever your base penalty is.
I have a question to kind of follow up on that. So we passed this and it's just going to be a civil matter then? Is that, because if it's going to be a level one, I would expect that we'd be able to book them in the jail. But if this is an ordinance for the city, then we're not going to be able to do that, correct?
Yeah, so if it is one of the four, so if the notice of intent goes through and those four chemicals become a Schedule I substance, then that would be a criminal violation. But again, there is that kind of enforcement quandary of like, how do you actually tell it is? And that's why like anything would be a civil penalty. And so no, we can't make what is a crime a civil infraction. So there would be that issue, but at least like, unless there's evidence that it's one of those four specific chemicals, that it would be covered by this ordinance and it would be punishable, not only by a civil infraction, but if it's a business who's selling these types of products, those types of violation would also be the basis for revoking their business license.
We need to know whether we're passing this or if we're going to go to a second reading, correct?
What we would ask first, if we can have that discussion on what you want the penalty to be. Again, keeping in mind the bail schedule. And we had that discussion when we talked about penalties last February, when we did the fee schedule. So this is the same thing. Remember, we had officers that were hesitant to write some simple tickets because with the fee plus the bail schedule, it became pretty outrageous. And so we adjusted so that our penalties were much, much lower in some cases, so that the overall amount of the fine was a reasonable and prudent amount for what the crime was. So this is a continuance basically of that, just understanding that. But again, we would need to know how you want to do the C penalties. We would need some input on what do you feel comfortable with as a fine for these, if someone wouldn't be found.
I'm of the opinion that certain fines bring a certain level of deterrent. So I'm in favor of a higher bail in this circumstance.
Could I add? I would agree with that, especially since we are not able to, put them in jail because all they're getting is a ticket. And so I think that a higher bail or a higher penalty would be more appropriate in that particular case.
So, can you pop that up today? 27 of the agenda is where you can pop that up there real quick. Sure.
Please popping that up. Could I ask Chief Cook, the bail schedule, obviously, and your officers pretty well. Do you know where they might stand on feeling comfortable or uncomfortable enforcing anything on?
Yeah, I kind of caroused it and I jotted down a couple notes on that for this meeting. Looking at the PSBA fees, my recommendation would start with the C9. Kind of going by the other city ordinances that were examples. There was a lot that started at $250 as first offense. And then I would probably go, it's pretty typical to double it. So then a C5 would essentially double that. And then finishing off with the third with the C1.
Yeah.
Because really what this is doing is it's not necessarily targeting, I guess, your individual user. This is essentially targeting the seller. So I kind of agree with Bo and his stance that it needs to come with some penalty, and they're retailers, not your average citizen. So.
And then they allow us to look at like enforcement of nuisance, weeds, signage, and public health is kind of a different kind of category of deterrent is kind of where I'm coming from.
And kind of going from the lay of the land, it seems like the other ordinances are around that 250 mark to start.
Would you recommend going with something like C9 as your first offense? Which would be about $250 with everything, with all the other charges they throw in there. And then go with something like C4 or C5 as the second. And then your third offense would be a C1, correct?
I have a question while we're talking about banning and things like that, and it goes back to something Dr. Brezhny said about, you said if they name it this, like with these names, if we're going through all this, is a retailer going to be able to rename it or rebrand this same product to get around some of these things? Or, I mean, I don't know if that's a dumb question or not, but.
It is possible that they can rebrand, rename. Tell it very well.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Not Kratom.
Well, we have non-alcoholic beer too. I mean,
That's the point. At the end of the day, you're doing this because you don't want children to buy, you don't want others. So people doing these sort of, shall we say, the behavior is to sell without regard to public safety. I think then potentially additional charges, even say public endangerment charges that are separate from if these substances do become class 1, but
okay. Thank you.
I think also, don't think it bans products with the name Kratom. I think it bans products that have Kratom in them.
Chemicals.
Specific
Chemicals.
that are
Okay.
banned. So it would still be banned regardless of their, trade name, if you will.
Kratom,
Uh,
Kratom. Okay.
Yeah, but again, it's not banning Kratom like the leaf product. It's
Those chemicals. Okay, thank you.
Just to clarify, the one we have on the table is to ban plain leaf, correct?
correct.
Okay, that's the federal one that's banning the chemicals. Okay.
Yes, the ordinance is a ban of all Kratom and all synthetics. So it's across the
Everything.
board so that your officers aren't having to distinguish
Okay.
those different products.
So we can't take a vote on this ordinance then.
So there were yes, and we would like the motion to include the penalties.
Well, I would move that we follow the recommendation of the chief as far as the penalties are concerned and move forward and adopt this.
So could I get you to restate that, specifically stating C9, C5, and C1?
Yes, yes. I would recommend that for the first offense, we would go with the C9. Second offense, we go with the C5, and third offense, we go with the C1 as far as penalties are concerned.
I would second that.
We're talking about foregoing the second reading and expediting this and passing it tonight.
That's my recommendation.
Acting on it tonight. I shouldn't say passing it, but at least expedite it and take a vote.
So if I could, then you could restate the motion.
We're going to second
Would you
reading.
like to sit on my knee here and
Expedite, would you like to expedite?
I would like to expedite, ordinance 26-003 banning kratom product sales in the city limits, with the penalty being first offense C9, second offense C5, and a third offense, and every offense thereafter a C1.
I would resecond that.
We have a motion.
Good job. Good job.
That's more than you plan on saying.
It is.
A motion. Need a second? Have one.
We have one.
Second.
Oh, okay. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I would hesitate to expedite this. I don't know that this is a urgent enough concern that I haven't personally heard from anybody in the community that uses this product or any of the retails, but there's certainly a possibility someone may have a counter argument to some of this sort of stuff. Mine is, I'm not prepared to vote against this at all, but because I fully support what the health district and everyone's trying to do. My issue from the beginning has been this is not the direction of regulation is normally meant to go. This is one step shy of us trying to regulate energy drinks, herbal supplements. We have no expertise on this sort of thing. We're positioning ourselves as the enforcement arm. Like in our packet, we were given sampling of some of these types of products. Absolutely none of those have the word kratom in them, near as I can tell, out of the 20 or 30 that are in there. So I don't envy our officers attempting to enforce this. I couldn't tell you which ones of these look just like an energy supplement or, some sort of a caffeine type booster. I have no idea. You got words like Smurfs and Oxen and Chews and Perks. And again, obviously meant to argue and confuse the consumer. So I'm not opposed to what we're trying to do, but it's very awkward to position ourselves in a regulatory environment. The sooner the state and the FDA moves forward to give us direction and guidance, the better. But I don't know exactly how we're supposed to proceed entirely with this other than to have a law on our books, but we're not in the habit of putting laws on our books that we don't intend to enforce. So I guess I would hesitate to expedite this as much as I don't want to drag things on for no reason. That's my personal take.
Any more discussion? Bring this to a vote. We have a motion and a second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. All right. Our second ordinance, 26-004, signage.
Again, Mr. Mayor, Council, in front of you is an ordinance draft ordinance for first reading related to signage in our community in particular. And signage. What is?
Yeah, so this is to address more specifically temporary signs. Again, this is not sandwich or A-frame signs. I know there's a lot of use, and that's why I included the entire section. Those are regulated under a separate section that's not being changed. These are just those temporary signs that are of like materials that in nature. And so this provides clear regulations about placement of those signs within the city of rights of way, out front of city buildings. It also references there's an existing prohibition of these types of signs in city parks. I know that came up the last discussion, that's already banned in your park regulations, so it just references that. So again, this is just kind of a comprehensive example for your review.
I have a question. My only comment, I guess, on this is on page 4. Under the residential zone, it says 1 temporary window sign per residential unit not to exceed 4 square feet is allowed. Does that mean somebody would be in violation if I put 2 potential candidate signs in 2 different windows in my house? Because we're talking about your residents. Then I would be in violation and be subject to code enforcement.
Yeah, and then that's why this is provided as an example. This is just an example code, so it's up to the council to modify as appropriate to meet what you want to see in your city.
That was the only part that I didn't like that I thought was kind of overreach because you're talking about something in somebody's window inside their residence. And I think that's a little bit much.
I would agree with that.
So would you like to just no
Strike it.
limit on residential window signs?
Correct.
Okay.
And I think you could get there if you just strike that
Yep.
under that section A, under residential zones.
So we need a motion to pass ordinance 26-004 signage.
I'd make a motion that we go to a second reading after the changes.
I second that.
Any discussion on that? All in favor of moving it to a second reading? Aye. Opposed? Passes as well. Moving forward, we move all the way down to section 10, administration reports.
Nothing really changed. There and office man want to give a quick recap of their experience at the Little Sleep Office last week.
Blade James?
It was a good experience. Got sick the second day, but other than that, it was a really good experience. Learned a lot. Some interesting ideas, especially about youth involvement in council that hoping to talk about a bit more in workshop. But yeah, learned a lot of good stuff.
I'd like to say it was awesome to go there and know that we weren't taking our problems there to air out in public, which a lot of people there want to do because they want solutions to be there from other people that are in the same situation. I did more listening than anything, and I tried to help a few people with some ideas, but I was really fortunate that I could proudly say we don't have the problems that I see in almost 280 other participants from different areas. There were some bad ones with problematic people or problematic procedures. Like I say, there's always room for improvement with us, but we are light years ahead of what I witnessed there. Towns from 100 people to 50,000 people. Problems that we could never imagine that sound so simple to fix from where we're sitting because we're not there, but they just don't know how to get out of their own way. And so I'm just glad that we have a very responsible group of adults that want to work in unison to achieve common-minded goals. So I commend you all for being forward-thinking on this and using your best common sense. If there's no other issues, we can adjourn this meeting. All right.
You all.
Okay. You never be square.
Mhm.
Well, I'll try and bring it back.
Try to.
Stop. Oh, you
Well, I'm glad you didn't because it makes me feel a little better.